So now perhaps we'll start with just a little introduction for the two of us, for those that are here already. So I can see there's a couple of people joined. So I'll introduce myself. My name is Liz Colliers and I'm part of the Vidversity team. I'm Sydney based, not that that means much these days now that we're all at home in our, now that we're all home on Zoom and on the webinar platforms. So I'm really the relationships person here, so for our Sydney-based customers primarily, but more broadly now. And I am going to hand over to Natalie, who's running today's webinar, and to show you how to move to online with the minimum of fuss and stress.
Yeah, well, thanks, Liz. So some of you may have met me, some of you may not. First of all, just explain how the webinar works is you'll see me and I'll be doing a bit of sharing your screen. You don't have to share your screen or dial in. So unlike me, who's had to put lipstick on, no need. It'll be about 25 minutes, maybe a little bit less. We'll see how we go. And it's just really an opportunity for me to demonstrate how to use video and interactive learning and be really creative with building online learning. So a bit of background about me is I teach in a number of places. I teach at Melbourne Law School. My background is I'm a lawyer. I do a lot of training and online training, face-to-face and online. And in the last couple of years, I have been involved in creating a platform called Vidversity. And the whole aim of Vidversity is it's a place that you can create videos, edit videos, add interaction, and then deliver video as a learning asset. And the delivery, which we'll look at a little bit later, can be via just a share link, or it can be embedded into your learning management system through SCORM or LTI. So it's an end-to-end solution, but it doesn't mean you need to leave the current world you've got if you're using something like Moodle or any kind of LMS. So the last few weeks we've been really, really busy, and I've been consulting to a number of organisations helping lecturers, trainers, a lot of people who are really stressed who've overnight been told you've now got to deliver online. So in this session, I'm just going to show you some of the things of how to get started. I've also got a handout at the end, which is a bit of a checklist to help you get started. So I'll give you that at the end and remind me if I forget to do that. Then I'm going to show you some examples of how people have used Vidversity to deliver their learning. And then I'm going to just at the end, we spend about 5-10 minutes just showing you how to build a course. So and then feel free to reach out to myself or Liz or anyone in the Vidversity team if you've got any further questions. Over on the right, you should have a chat feature. If you've got questions, feel free to just put them there. I'll see how I go. I might get to them during, but I'll certainly get to them at the end. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to show you. We'll start with a little PowerPoint. I'll do a slideshow from here. So this is creative ideas for online learning. The first question I've been saying to anyone that I'm working with is, well, where do you start? The first question is, what do you do now? So this is for the people who have never been in online and they're just thinking how on earth I can get there. The first question I say to them, don't worry about the technology, think about what you'd like to be able to do. So if you are moving something like a workshop online, it might be a full day workshop, there's parts of it that's synchronous where you're all there together, and there's parts that are asynchronous where they have to do the recording or static stuff. They do stuff on their own. So that's the first thing. I just want people to say, don't panic about the technology. I'm feeling people are very, very overwhelmed and panic saying, I've never used these technologies. And I say, don't worry, subject matter experts, as subject matter experts, you'll be able to move this stuff online. You just need to have a bit of a process. So I've kind of been working on this process over the last few weeks, really evolving it because I've been on the front line with loads of people I've been working with someone in Switzerland, I've been working with some lecturers in Manchester in UK, I've been working with the US, and I seem to have, everyone I've been working with has a very similar overwhelming, I don't know where to start. So the first thing is you need content. So you start with the content. So that might be a workshop, might be a 1-hour seminar that you did as a CPD session. It might be a lecture. It might be a classroom that you're doing with your grade 6s, whatever that might be. You then break up the content into, well, I've come up with 4 areas. The static content. So for me as a law lecturer, the static content is usually I've got to teach them the law. So it's the stuff that no matter what I do, I have to stand up and present that content. Then there's the interactive content. That's the Q&A sessions, the case studies, the really engaging stuff that we get together and we have to do, we've traditionally done face-to-face. Self-paced, think of that as homework. That's stuff that you're asking them to do on their own. And then there's assessment. So you break your content down into that. And it's so important. What a lot of people have done is just Zoomed. They've just said, okay, we're doing all that in Zoom. And that's fine for the interactive content, but it's an incredibly stressful approach for everybody to spend a whole lot of time in Zoom. So for the static content, the content that is you teaching an audience, that's the stuff that can be pre-recorded. And that's what we'll be focusing on predominantly today, is how to do that. For the interactive sessions, I do think live is the best way to do that for the sort of really interactive Q&A case study type thing. And that's where you're using things like Zoom and Skype and Teams. And just a quick observation, I've been doing quite a lot of that. In fact, I said to someone the other day, I think I could sit a law degree again. I've sat in so many law lectures in the last 2 weeks. I could sit most of the exams because I've been helping the lecturers run sessions. And one of the best features, I'm assuming Skype and Teams have something similar, but one of the best features in Zoom is definitely the breakout rooms, the ability to put people in breakout rooms, because I found the students really, or any participants really like the opportunity to go into a smaller group and have some engagement and come back to a bigger group, because if there's more than about 15 of you in a Zoom meeting, it can get overwhelming. Self-paced content, that's your resources and things they need to read, and then assessment. We're not going to focus on that so much, other than to say we have a product called Benchmark, which is a tool that allows your students to film themselves and deliver directly to a learning management system. But that's more of an ed, K-12 sort of tertiary product. So when it comes to static content that you can pre-record, there's all different ways you can pre-record. So you can use something like Loom. Loom is a platform that allows you to film directly from your desktop like this, and you can have your PowerPoints there, and it's really easy. Zoom can record a Zoom session, great for interviews, that kind of thing. Snagit or something like ScreenPrezo, really good for screen captures. So if you're doing software training, that can be really handy. All of those can be put into the platform of Vidversity that adds an additional layer to that content. So rather than just dumping a video, Vidversity is the tool that allows it to edit it into chapters. Inside the chapters, make references to relevant resources, make reference to additional material you might want them to read. Quiz them, put some quizzes in there, and then all delivered into your learning management system. So that's sort of a flow. And if anyone wants this PowerPoint or wants that flow, feel free to contact us, or I'll see if I can make it available at the end. So now I want to talk about that pre-recorded content, the content that is the static content. How do we deliver it and make it interesting and engaging? So I just wanted a couple of stories. So one I did the other day, I just thought was just well worth mentioning. This was actually a Zoom meeting that somebody recorded, and I absolutely loved the lecturer was presenting this, or the presenter was presenting it. I think it was a leadership program. And we're all in it and we're watching it, and about halfway through he said, "Has anyone got a pet there?" And of the 50 of us in the room, about 60, 70% of us did. So he said, "Everyone go and grab your pet." And I just thought, you know what? What that reminded me of is you don't have to be perfect here. I think one of the biggest anxieties people are having when it comes to creating video is seeking perfection. And one of the things I know from having teenagers who spend their life on TikTok, they don't care about being online. That's not a fear to them, or filming themselves. They film everything. They film their lunch every day on Instagram. They're used to that. But a lot of us are not necessarily. So we've got this real anxiety of moving from a platform where we're presenting to a platform that is where we're being recorded. And it is hard. Like this session I find hard. I'm not getting any energy from anyone in the room. I don't know if it's working, but it's a leap. But I keep saying to subject matter experts, you know your content better than anyone. Deliver it as you would. And if you make mistakes, we make mistakes every time we do a live workshop and we present. That authenticity will be really valued. So don't over sanitize it, don't over produce it, don't get overwhelmed with that filming process. Just be an expert at your content. Another example I just wanted to share, I was working with someone who was doing a presentation, and they said traditionally they actually do a tour. They take their participants on a tour of Manchester in the UK, and they go and look at buildings and they discuss, I think it's an art history thing. And he was really disappointed of having to film himself sitting at a desk. And that's where something like Vidversity kicks in. I said, don't. Take your phone, download the Vidversity app, which is free on the web in both the Google Play and the App Store. This is for Vidversity customers. Create a video. You can create, I said, film yourself going around the city, press upload, it'll turn up in Vidversity, we'll edit it and make that available. And so I want people to remember when we're making this content, it doesn't have to be you sitting at a desk, talking to your computer with PowerPoint. I feel like that's sort of what most people have gone down that path. And I want people to be thinking big, be creative, be interesting. And I have two things to say about that. One is always think about the learner. No matter how interesting something is, if something is just a PowerPoint and you talking to them for an hour, it'll be almost impossible to keep someone engaged. And I compare that to somebody who is sitting in their room as a 16-year-old or a 21-year-old who's making videos on YouTube to teach people how to game, maybe in Fortnite or something. They often have millions of people following and learning from them because they're just authentic and they're talking to the audience. So always think about who your audience is. So now I'm going to swap around and I'm going to go and have a look at some examples. So for anyone who doesn't know Vidversity, this is Vidversity. This is what the creator sees. This is not what the learner sees. And this is a world that enables us to easily do something with those videos that you've just made in Zoom or Loom or Snagit, wherever you may have made it. So first thing is on the front page, remember I mentioned an app. That's the login to the app. And I could give that to any one of you and say, can you make a video for me? So think about this in your organisations. You might say to someone, I want a video from you and I want a video from you. They can film with their phone. They press upload and it automatically arrives in here. But let's have a look. I'll show you 2 or 3 courses. So what I mean by a course is something that's a video's gone through the process of being edited and things added to it, and then show you lastly how to do one. So let's start with this one here. This was somebody who was teaching English as a second language. They wanted it to be in a secure environment. So security is a big part of what we do. A lot of our clients are government clients and we get audited and have to go through that process. So we're protecting the content, which in this world when we're all frantically trying to get stuff out there, make sure we still remember the privacy laws we've got to comply with, and we've got to make sure the content's secure. We can protect our IP. We'll go into here. This is what a learner ends up seeing. So this was traditionally a rather long video, and I haven't put it all in here. Instead of it being just a video that's dumped on a screen, it's been edited into chapters so the learner can go to the part they want. A PowerPoint has been put in here, so we can embed PowerPoints, so you can put PowerPoints as a slideshow if you want. And then inside, now we're looking at this. You can put these titles along here. He makes references to a number of things throughout it under the resource library. They're all in there for the learner to be able to see. He also makes some notes along the way that pop up on the screen, and under notes, they're all aggregated as a printout. So that's the sort of traditional, a teacher standing in front of a class. He's literally just filmed his class, uploaded it into here and made it into something much more interesting and engaging. So that's one example. Another example is this one here, which I'll publish. This was a health and safety video that they had made available to their staff, and it was approximately, I think, about 50 minutes long, and they were getting feedback in their learning management system that really people were only doing the first few minutes. So they put it through a Vidversity customer, and instead what they've done is they've created it into something much more engaging. So they could say to their staff, for instance, your job, like for instance, would be very powerful at the moment, is understanding what protective clothing is. So the learner can go to the part they're particularly interested in or required to do. And I should point out at this point, everything's tracked either two ways, either through us or either through your learning management system. So let's just have a look at what happens. So quizzes are embedded throughout this. So I moved this a little bit to the front because I suspected none of us wanted to watch 15 minutes or 5 minutes of this. So a quiz can be embedded in here. So how many people are killed each year? We'll say over 30. Answer the question. No, it's actually over, and off we go. The video automatically stopped. Again, a key point just came up. So that's something the learner really needed to remember. So the key takeaways, the video stopped and now the learner clicks OK and they get going again. All those notes are aggregated here underneath and they can print them out. So you can use varying levels of video. The last one I'll show you is my course this semester. I teach a subject at Melbourne Law School, and I just film myself after every class. I go back to my desk and I film myself with my phone. I upload that onto my phone. I make what's called a share link available to my students, and every time they log in, or they don't need to log in for that one, every time they go into this, there's a different video, each one of them made from me, literally out and about on my phone. So we did a tour of the city. So that's us in Parliament. I've also got some guides to using some of the databases in there. So I've got a whole lot of really interesting information. So it becomes a world that's sort of a summary for their semester. So again, different use case. So we can be doing we could be doing software training. We can be doing drip feeding, where we're just giving each week a different video that we make on our phone. We can have a highly produced video that's done with a camera person and a videographer, and we want to actually make that interesting. So what's the process that we do with this? We upload a video, we edit and create. So I'll just very quickly, so the video uploader, you literally just upload a video from your desktop. Alternatively, if you'd used our phone app, by clicking upload, it automatically just arrives in our editor. Once a video is there, so I'll find a video for us. Okay. All right, I'll just make our screen a bit bigger. This is the problem with when you share screen, you've got the buttons all over your place. Okay, so here's a video that's called Q&A. It was done with these psychologists that did a resilience training, and I asked if I could use this for today. This is a 5-minute video. If I wanted to break this up into smaller chapters, I literally just go mark in from where I want it to start, and then I'd go mark out where I want it to finish. And I'm saying, so I want it to start at 1 second, I want to start at 18 seconds, and I'm going to call that webinar. Okay, call it what you want. So this is, I'm not intending this to be a full tutorial. I just want to show you the flow and show you how easy it is. So what have we done here? We've uploaded a video and we want to edit it into chapters, and we just go cut and save. Most important part of that process is we never edit the original video. So the first process is you upload your video and you spend a bit of time editing it. You then go over to courses and you call it something. So we'll call this the webinar sample, for instance. And we'll just put it in the categories. We'll put some keywords in here. That's handy for when you've got 100 courses down the track and you're actually going, oh goodness, now I've got too many, I need to search for them. So I'm going to put my name there and I'm going to put where I'm from. And can the learners skip around? Yes, they can. So I've just created a course shell now and there's nothing in it. So we go back to our video editor and we find our video again. So I'll have to just make this smaller. I'm making that smaller because the video, the share screen button's in the way of my screen. I go into my main video, which is here, and here's all the chapters I've made, and that's the webinar, the one I just did a moment ago, and you go, click that one. So I spent, just before we came on, I just edited a few. So I broke them down into, and this person was actually interviewing. So what I broke down, the chapters, I called them the names of what, or the question, are people resilient or not resilient? Is it a fixed state? Have you seen people going from not being very resilient to resilient? So that was the questions that Nieta was asking Melanie. So I've edited it down into those questions. And now I go to here and I say, add it to the webinar sample course, click add, we'll edit it. And now let's assume that took us 10 minutes. I uploaded a video. Let's have a look what we've just done. I'll publish that. So what have we done? We've uploaded a video. We used our editor to break it into chapters, which I'd already done 3, and we added an additional one we called webinar. We said create course, and now look what we've done. We've built a course that's already made up of a series of things. And now it's just a matter of adding additional things that we want to put inside each chapter. So you say lock it, and inside each chapter, we've got a number of things we can add. We can add questions. Questions are really simple. So we do something like today is, and we put in here, let's for instance do this one. Let's say it's Monday, it's Tuesday, it's Wednesday, which it is, I think. Goodness me. And the correct answer is Wednesday, and we'll say today is Wednesday. So that's feedback. And where would we like that to pop up on the screen? You just decide in timing here. So we'll just put it at, let's make it 9 seconds. I might also want to add a link to a document. So I'd just say click here, and that's where I could link to, click here to link to PowerPoint, whatever it is you want to link to. I'll go in here. We'll go and find something. That can be a Word document, it can be a URL. You decide if you want to pop up on the screen. We'll say no. I can add PowerPoint slides. You can have pre-prepared some slides, which I've done in here. So we'll find, again, I'll have to make this a bit smaller. I know you won't be able to see that for the minute, but just so I can find the resilience, there it is. Let's put an introduction slide in. So I've already built those. They would be PowerPoint slides that you've uploaded into our slideshow, which is over here. You can also, we'll make that as ones at the start. You can embed a slide on the screen. So you can say, actually, I want the slide to appear in the top right-hand corner. So we'll choose which slide we want. Again, you just upload an image, or otherwise I'll put a slide there. I know I'm going at a very fast pace here, but we'll click on save. Where do we want that to appear? We want that to appear at 3 seconds. We'll go back up to here. So 3 seconds, it's telling me there. We'll click on the tick. Now let's just very quickly have a look at what we've prepared. So what did we start with? We had a 5-minute video that was just a video. Now we've edited it. We've created chapters. We've added some slides, so some PowerPoint slides. So we've now got a nice front page. We click on OK. They start talking. We've embedded a slide into this video, and we've put a question in there, and the learner has to do the question to keep moving. And finally, we added a resource, and that was a link to the PowerPoint. Really fast, simple stuff. And very lastly, how do we deliver that? So we can deliver that with navigation. We decide, do the learners have to do all the chapters in order, or are they allowed to move around? Tracking, we decide how we're going to track them. Is it by questions or by the number of chapters they've viewed? So for questions, they might need a percentage. We can deliver it by SCORM. So if you've got a learning management system, you simply download that there. or LTI. And finally, we have 2 other ways to deliver it. One is you can just make it shareable, and that's a link for the world to see, or you can make it shareable by private registration, and that is when you invite someone, they will receive an email saying you've been invited to complete this course. They have to verify their email, and then they can access the course. And then using our system at the front page, we have a progress report where you can see the name of the person and if they've completed and passed. And passed is based on that tracking that you just did. So very, very quick demonstration, but it was just an opportunity to say to you, you know, building online learning has traditionally been something that a lot of people are very frightened to do and very overwhelmed. They say, I've never done that before. But the reality is with tools like Vidversity, you can actually film yourself and create some really engaging, interesting online learning really quite fast. And one of the things that is particularly exciting about this is the learners love it. The feedback we keep getting from learners is that was so much more interesting than just the traditional e-learning of moving through PowerPoints or animations. Often that just takes so much time also and are very complicated to do. So I hope that gives you a bit of an overview of what we do. I'm going to add some handouts here for you. So I'm going to just go in and say, I'm going to share a couple of things that just might help you out in relation to, and I'll also go and get the PowerPoint as well that I just referred to before, because some people might be interested in the, I'll just have to make sure, in that PowerPoint that I just had before, particularly the content thing. So I'm just going to save that as a creative online learning. So speaking about not being perfect, I'm definitely not here. I'm just going to choose that. So creative online learning, and that's just got a bit of a guide to, there we go, with some examples. I've got some links to some of those sample courses. And just be aware, if you do use the link, if you launch it from PowerPoint, won't work. You have to copy the whole link and put it into your URL, because that's a protection we have in relation to all of the courses that we share. So that gives you some ideas. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to us. I will put my email address on here. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. I hope you're all well and safe in this very strange environment.
And Nat, I'll just say before we finish up, we'll try and work out, this is a new platform for us too, this new webinar platform, but we're very happy to send out a recording of the webinar to anyone who would like it. And if you do have a team that would like to have a look in more detail, we're happy to set up direct Zoom demonstrations online. It's very easy for us to do that as well. So just get in contact, and I think all our details should be on the webinar links.
Yes, and I hope you found that useful. Thank you so much.
Hope to see you soon. Bye.
Yeah, thanks.